The air in the courtroom crackled with anticipation, a palpable tension hanging heavy under the fluorescent hum of the overhead lights. My client, a young app developer named Ben, sat beside me, his face pale, his fingers nervously tapping out a staccato rhythm on the table. Across from us, Miss Caldwell, the opposing counsel, a woman who wielded her designer handbag and courtroom rhetoric with equal ferocity, adjusted her microphone with a predatory gleam in her eye. This wasn't just another copyright infringement case. It was a David versus Goliath battle, a fight for the soul of an idea, of a dream that had consumed Ben for the past 2 years. A dream that Tech Titan, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, had callously stolen and repackaged as their own. Their weapon, a seemingly innocuous line of code, buried deep within the digital labyrinth of their flagship app. A code strikingly similar, if not identical, to the one Ben had poured his heart and soul into.
Your Honor,
Ms. Caldwell boomed, her voice dripping with practiced empathy.
this is a simple case of coincidence, a common occurrence in the world of coding.
She pointed to the screen behind her, where lines of code, indecipherable to the untrained eye, danced across the screen like hieroglyphs.
These two codes, while similar in function, are fundamentally different in their architecture, their execution. To claim otherwise is not only ludicrous, but a blatant attempt to slander the good name of my client.
She sat down, her smug smile a testament to her confidence. The jury, their faces a mixture of confusion and boredom, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. My turn. I approached the jury, my stomach churning with a mixture of nerves and adrenaline. This case, Ben's future, rested on my ability to demystify the complex world of coding, to expose the truth hidden within those seemingly innocuous lines of text. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I began, my voice calm, measured. The defense would have you believe this is a coincidence, a fluke of digital happenstance. But what if I told you that within those lines of code lies a fingerprint, a unique signature that unequivocally links my client's work to the app you hold in your hands? I clicked a button on my laptop, and the screen behind me flickered to life, displaying a single word: algorithm. An algorithm, I explained, is like a recipe, a set of instructions that dictates how a program behaves. And just like a chef leaves his unique signature on a dish, a coder, particularly a brilliant one like Mr. Ben Miller, leaves his signature within the intricate logic of his algorithm. I could see the skepticism on the jurors' faces. This wasn't a cooking show. This was a courtroom, and algorithms, to them, were abstract concepts best left to tech wizards and Silicon Valley giants. But I had an ace up my sleeve, a plan as audacious as it was risky. I turned to the judge. Your Honor, I request permission to call an expert witness to the stand. A witness who can shed light on the unique nature of algorithms and definitively prove the connection between my client's work and the code in question. Miss Caldwell, her carefully crafted facade cracking for the briefest of moments, shot me a look that could curdle milk.
And who, pray tell, is this so-called expert?
She scoffed. I smiled, a slow, predatory curve of my lips. The head of software development at Tech Titan himself, Mr. William Hayes. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Miss Caldwell, her face ashen, jumped to her feet.
Objection.
She sputtered.
Mr. Hayes is not on the witness list. This is highly irregular.
The judge, his curiosity piqued, overruled her objection.
I'm inclined to allow it. Counselor, this is a matter of potential intellectual property theft, a serious accusation. The jury deserves to hear all sides of the story.
William Hayes, a man who radiated an air of quiet authority, took the stand, his gaze sweeping over the courtroom, with an almost imperceptible flicker of recognition as his eyes met Ben's. Under oath, I carefully guided him through a series of questions, each one designed to highlight the unique fingerprint within Ben's algorithm. I presented him with code samples, highlighted key functionalities, and questioned him about the likelihood of two programmers independently creating such a complex and specific sequence. And then, it happened. Mr. Hayes, I asked, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. Can you, with absolute certainty, state that the algorithm used in your company's app is not based on the work of Mr. Ben Miller? He hesitated, his gaze darting nervously between me, the jury, and Miss Caldwell, who was now frantically scribbling notes on her legal pad. "Mr. Hayes," I pressed, "you are under oath. Please answer the question." He took a deep breath, resignation settling over his features.
I cannot.
He mumbled, his voice barely audible. A wave of quiet satisfaction washed over me. He'd inadvertently admitted it, not through malice or intent, but through his own expertise, his inherent understanding of the intricate world of code. The jury, their faces alight with understanding, had reached the same conclusion. When they returned with a verdict in favor of Ben, the courtroom erupted in cheers. Later, as we celebrated our victory, Ben turned to me, his eyes shining with gratitude.
"How did you know he would crack, that he'd practically confess on the stand?"
I smiled, remembering the look in William Hayes' eyes, the subtle nod of recognition when I'd mentioned Ben's name, the ethical dilemma he'd clearly grappled with. "He didn't confess," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "His code did."